This is the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast. Welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur, where I dish out inspiration and career advice for musicians, writers, visual artists, performers, and other amazing creative people just like you. If you're listening on Apple, Google, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, Radio Public, or wherever, please subscribe to the podcast or to the channel so you don't miss an episode. I'm your host, Bob Baker, and this episode is titled, Stop Waiting to Be Picked. This topic is adapted from my book, The Passion Principles, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in just a bit. Let's dive into this topic. You see, many creative people look around their hometown and they search for things the city can do for them. Now, other artists seek out mentors, gatekeepers, media people, managers, agents, and so on in an effort to gain credibility that will lift them out of obscurity and make them feel worthy. But you want to know what the most empowered artists do? They create the circumstances they're looking for. If the venues you want to perform at aren't booking you, just give up, right? It's the end of the world. Oh, no. Find a cafe or a retailer that wants more clients and wants more foot traffic. Work with them to create an event. So what if the media isn't covering you? They're not interviewing you. They're not reviewing your stuff. It's the end of the world, right? No, then you become the media. You can launch your own blog. You can start your own podcast or YouTube channel. You broadcast your story yourself. Here's one of my favorite quotes from George Bernard Shaw. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. That's so good it's worth repeating. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. Here are some examples of creative entrepreneurs who did that exact thing. Shannon Curtis wasn't satisfied playing at traditional music venues as a solo singer-songwriter, so she turned to her fans and asked them if they would like to host her in their homes to do an intimate house concert. And they said yes. It's now her primary business model. Shannon and her husband Jamie tour the U.S. every summer and perform in more than 80 homes. Several years ago, Sean Cannell wanted to help people learn about video production and camera gear. He started his own YouTube channel dedicated to the topic. And now, with nearly 800,000 subscribers, he has a thriving business and a best-selling book. Pookie Lee couldn't find local dance studios that were receptive to her teaching Hawaiian hula, so she started offering her own independent hula classes. And in case you didn't know, Pookie is my significant other of many years. Here's another local story. DJ Alexis Tucci didn't limit herself to existing dance clubs in St. Louis, Missouri. Instead, she rented cool spaces in the area and organized her own underground night chaser parties. And now just about every monthly event is a sellout. Many years ago, I wanted to get more experience doing stand-up comedy and improv comedy. Most local performers, they complained that the comedy clubs didn't give them enough stage time. But I didn't wallow in that misery. I approached a local bar and offered to host a weekly comedy show, which gave me a lot of experience, and I made a little money doing it too. This kind of reminds me of that old John Kennedy slogan, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Perhaps that should be reframed as, ask not what your local venues and other people can do for you. Ask what you can do for yourself to make things happen. The bottom line is stop waiting to be discovered. Stop waiting to be picked, to be chosen, to be deemed worthy by someone else. Pick yourself and start orchestrating your own lucky breaks. So here's your homework. What is an area in your life where you have been complaining, where you're frustrated, where you're pointing to other people about they're not doing enough for me? Come on, admit it. There's some area of your life where that's happening. And once you identify that, ask yourself, what can you do to create a circumstance, to create an event, to create some sort of a win-win partnership where you get what you want and maybe other people that are involved in that process also get what they want? What can you do to improve your situation and your circumstances? I'd also love to know your thoughts on this. So if you're consuming this in a place where you can leave a comment, please do so. Would love to know your thoughts. And again, this episode was inspired by a section from my book called The Passion Principles. Subtitle of that is 101 Ways to Express Your Creativity and Share It with the World. A lot of people rave about this book because it's just filled with these bite-sized nuggets of inspiring ideas and best practices for people that lead a kind of rich and fulfilling creative life. So look in the show notes for a link to that and to learn more about it. And as always, thanks for listening. I appreciate you. I wish you the best. This is Bob Baker saying so long for now.